Welcome to this Getting Started with ORCID webinar series. This is a ORCID 101 session, so we'll be going over a very brief overview of what ORCID is. So as I mentioned, we'll be talking about what ORCID is. We'll also go over the three main components of ORCID, and of those components, we'll go into a little more detail on what the ORCID ID is, as well as a brief overview of the ORCID record. So, what is ORCID? ORCID stands for Open Researcher and Contributor Identifier. ORCID is an identifier that is meant to uniquely identify researchers so that they can get credit and attribution for their work, streamline a researcher's digital identity so an organization can save time on administrative tasks, and keep track of a researcher's affiliations and contributions all in one place. ORCID is a nonprofit, community-driven organization that serves the global research community. And there are three main components that make up ORCID. The ORCID ID, which is the unique persistent identifier that is free of charge to researchers and individuals. The ORCID record, which includes information about the individual from their employment history, education, and works, as well as much more. And the ORCID API, or Application Programming Interface. The ORCID API allows the research community to work collaboratively with ORCID by allowing connections between the ORCID record and member organizations. In this session, we'll only be going into a little more detail on the ORCID ID, as well as a very brief overview of the ORCID record. In a future session of this webinar series, we'll go into more detail on what the ORCID API is, as well as how that works. So first, let's talk about the ORCID ID. An ORCID ID is a 16-digit number that is unique to the individual. It distinguishes researchers from each other and is free for anyone to use. You'll see here our volunteer researcher, Sophia, and her ORCID ID. You'll notice it looks like a link, and that's because it is. The ORCID ID links to an ORCID record. So if we click on this ORCID link, we are taken to Sophia's ORCID record, which is populated with information similar to what you might see on a CV or a resume. You'll see here that there's a section for different name formations, a biography, her country, and a section for keywords describing her research areas, and importantly, a section on her employment history. If we scroll down through her ORCID record, we begin to see the other sections, her education and qualifications, her professional activities such as membership, service, distinction, and invited positions, what funding she's received, any research equipment she's used, her works, which include publications she's written, and lastly, her peer review activity. Now, the ORCID US community has an ORCID workshop for researchers that we put on quarterly each year that goes into more detail on ORCID, what it is, some of the benefits of using ORCID, how to use your ORCID record and populate it with information, and lots of other important information for researchers really trying to learn how to best utilize ORCID. On our website, you can access all past recordings of these workshops by going to our resource library. You can find them by going to the ORCID Workshop for Researchers tag or by searching using the search box. You can also find those recordings by going to our ORCID US Community YouTube channel. And that is the end of this session for today.